Welcome to another episode of the English Pod community. I'm Blake, and today we're going to dive into a topic that's really close to my heart: female education and empowerment. Now, let me start by asking you a couple of questions. Have you ever wondered how education can change someone's life? What do you think it means to empower someone, especially women, through education? And how can stories from real-life experiences help us better understand the impact of education? In this episode, we're going to explore these questions, and I promise you'll not only improve your listening skills, but also get some useful insights that can help you with your writing. Listening to real-life stories can be a great way to practice English and understand different perspectives. So if you're new to the English Pod community, welcome. Here, we upload content every day to help you improve your English skills. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced learner, you'll find something helpful. And hey, if you enjoy the episode, don't forget to press the like button. Now, let's dive in. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I met a woman named Maya, who had grown up in a small village where education for girls was not prioritized. Her parents, however, believed in the power of education and made sure she attended school, even though it meant overcoming many obstacles. When Maya finished her schooling, she didn't just stop there. She decided to pursue a college degree in engineering, a field dominated by men. Today, Maya works as a successful engineer, and she's passionate about encouraging other young girls in her community to pursue their dreams, no matter the challenges. Maya's story is a great example of how education can change not just a person's life, but an entire community. By empowering women through education, we're not only helping them achieve their goals, but also contributing to the development of society as a whole. Now, let's look at some key ways education empowers women. First, it provides knowledge and skills that allow women to make informed decisions about their lives. Whether it's deciding on a career path, managing finances, or making choices about their health, education gives women the tools they need to succeed. Second, education helps women gain confidence. When women know their rights and understand how to navigate the world around them, they feel more capable of standing up for themselves and others. Finally, education can also break down gender stereotypes. For example, when women enter fields that are traditionally male-dominated, such as engineering or politics, they challenge the notion that certain professions are only for men. By doing so, they inspire future generations of girls to dream big and pursue any career they desire. I remember talking to my friend Ben, who works in the nonprofit sector. He shared a story about a woman named Sarah, who grew up in a rural area where girls often didn't continue their education beyond elementary school. But Sarah's parents were determined to send her to school, and eventually she graduated from university with a degree in business administration. Today, Sarah runs a successful small business, and she's helping other women in her community start their own businesses as well. Sarah's success story shows how education empowers women not just personally but economically. When women are educated, they are better equipped to support themselves and their families. They can create jobs, contribute to their communities, and even help to lift others out of poverty. But not all women have the same access to education, especially in some parts of the world. In many places, girls are still denied the chance to go to school. Sometimes it's because of financial reasons, and sometimes it's because of cultural beliefs that prioritize boys over girls. The good news is that there are many organizations working to change this. For example, there are initiatives that provide scholarships for girls in developing countries. These scholarships help pay for their tuition, books, and even transportation. Other organizations focus on building schools in areas where education is not easily accessible. These efforts are making a difference, and more girls are being given the opportunity to learn and grow. Now, think about this. How would your life be different if you didn't have access to education? Education gives us opportunities that can change our future. It opens doors to new possibilities, helps us think critically, and gives us the ability to create change. For women, education is especially important because it enables them to break free from traditional roles and stereotypes. This is why empowerment through education is so important. When women are empowered, they can stand up for themselves, make choices about their lives, and contribute to the world in meaningful ways. It's not just about gaining knowledge, it's about gaining freedom, opportunity, and a voice in the world. Take a moment and think about the women who have inspired you in your life. Maybe it's your mother, a teacher, a friend, or a famous public figure. What is it about their education and empowerment that has inspired you? How has education helped them achieve their goals? Let me share another story with you. I recently spoke with a woman named Emma, who grew up in a small town in the UK. Her family didn't have much money, but her parents always believed in the importance of education. They encouraged her to go to school and pursue her studies, even when life got difficult. After high school, Emma was able to get a scholarship to attend university, where she studied law. Emma faced many challenges along the way. At university, she was often one of the few women in her classes. Some of her classmates didn't believe that a woman could be a successful lawyer, but Emma didn't let that stop her. She worked hard, finished her degree, and now she's a successful lawyer helping other women in her community access legal rights and services. Emma's story shows how, with education, women can overcome social barriers and prove that they are just as capable as anyone else. What can we learn from Emma's journey? Well, one key point is that education doesn't just give us knowledge, it helps us challenge the expectations placed on us by society. Women like Emma show us that no matter where we come from or what obstacles we face, we have the ability to make a difference in the world if we have access to education. Let's take a moment to think about the world today. How many women do you know who have faced challenges to their education? How many of them have fought for the chance to learn and achieve their goals? Education is the key to making those dreams a reality. But it's important to remember that education isn't just about going to school. It's about gaining the confidence to believe in yourself and your abilities. That confidence often comes from having the chance to learn and grow. Another example comes from my friend John, who works with an organization focused on supporting women's education in developing countries. He told me about a woman named Layla, who lives in a remote village in Africa. Layla's community didn't prioritize education for girls, and many girls were expected to stay home and help with household chores. But Layla was determined to change her future. She convinced her parents to let her attend school, and after years of hard work, she earned a scholarship to study in the capital city. Layla now works as a teacher, helping to educate the next generation of girls in her village. She's become a role model for many young girls who once thought education was not an option for them. Layla's story highlights the power of education to not only transform an individual's life, but also to have a lasting impact on the entire community. What's even more inspiring about Layla's story is that she didn't just receive an education for herself. She is now passing on that knowledge to others. By teaching, Layla is helping other girls in her village see that education is a path to empowerment. This creates a ripple effect, where one educated woman can change the lives of many others. Education, in this sense, is not only a personal achievement, it's a gift that keeps on giving. Each woman who gets an education has the potential to inspire and educate others, creating a cycle of empowerment that can lift entire communities. As we listen to these stories, it's important to think about the bigger picture. The more women are educated, the more we see positive changes in society. When women are empowered through education, they are more likely to have healthier families, start businesses, and contribute to the economy. They are also more likely to be involved in decision-making processes, whether in their homes, communities, or governments. Think about it. How would the world look if every woman had access to the same educational opportunities as men? The possibilities would be endless. We would see more women in leadership roles, more women pursuing careers in science, technology, and engineering, and more women creating solutions to the challenges we face globally. Education is not just about learning facts and figures, it's about empowering individuals to change their own lives and the lives of those around them. And it's something that we should all support. In the next part of this episode, we'll look at some practical ways we can all contribute to empowering women through education. It's not just about what governments or organizations can do. It's about what we, as individuals, can do to make a difference in the lives of women around. As we dive deeper into the topic of female education and empowerment, it's important to acknowledge just how transformative education can be. Education is more than just an academic pursuit. It's a tool for personal freedom, social change, and long-term progress. The power of education, particularly for women, can't be overstated. It can break barriers, create opportunities, and open doors to new worlds. Let's think about the impact of education on a broader level. Education doesn't just affect individual women, it changes entire communities. When a woman is educated, she's not only shaping her own future, but she's also shaping the future of her family, her neighborhood, and even her country. Take the example of Sophie, who grew up in a small town in the south of England. Sophie was always passionate about education. She believed that knowledge was the key to unlocking better opportunities in life. But her community didn't always share the same belief. In fact, many people around her thought that education for women was not as important as it was for men. Despite these challenges, Sophie was determined to pursue her education. She worked hard throughout her school years, receiving support from her parents who believed in the power of education. She eventually got into a prestigious university where she studied economics. After graduating, Sophie returned to her community and became a financial advisor, helping people in her town make better financial decisions. But Sophie didn't stop there. She wanted to do more to help other women in her community gain the same opportunities she had. So she started a local initiative aimed at encouraging girls to continue their education after high school. The initiative provided tutoring, mentorship, and scholarships for young women in her town who wanted to pursue higher education but lacked the resources or support. What Sophie's story shows us is that female education can have a ripple effect. One educated woman can inspire others and create a wave of change that spreads throughout her community. Sophie's initiative has helped dozens of young women go to college, learn new skills, and start their own careers. These women, in turn, are now mentoring other girls in the community, ensuring that the cycle of education and empowerment continues. Education helps women like Sophie take control of their lives and make decisions that will impact their futures. It's not just about getting a job, it's about gaining the tools to live independently, make informed decisions, and take charge of one's life. This sense of empowerment can transform not only the individual, but also the community as a whole. When women are educated, they become more involved in their communities, whether through volunteer work, leadership roles, or political activism. They are more likely to support social causes and work toward improving the lives of others. Let's look at another example from a different part of the world. In rural parts of Africa, many girls are still denied access to education. But there are programs aimed at changing that. One such program is run by a woman named Amina, who grew up in a village in northern Nigeria. Amina's family didn't have the resources to send her to school, but her parents always emphasized the importance of education. They encouraged her to study on her own, and she did so diligently. After many years of hard work and determination, Amina earned a scholarship to attend a university in the capital city. There, she studied international relations and became an advocate for women's rights. After completing her degree, Amina returned to her village and started a program to help girls in her community get an education. She provided school supplies, paid for tuition fees, and offered mentorship to the girls, ensuring they had the support they needed to succeed. Today, Amina's program has helped hundreds of girls in her village go to school. Many of them have gone on to pursue higher education, start businesses, or become community leaders. Amina's story is a powerful reminder that education is not just a means to personal success. It's a way to uplift entire communities and bring about lasting change. But despite all the progress that has been made, there are still many challenges that women face in accessing education, particularly in developing countries. Poverty, cultural barriers, early marriage, and gender discrimination can all prevent girls from going to school. For example, in many parts of the world, girls are expected to stay at home and help with household chores, while boys are encouraged to go to school. In some places, there are safety concerns, such as long walks to school in dangerous areas, or the risk of being harassed or attacked. There's also the issue of child marriage, which affects millions of girls every year. In many countries, girls as young as 12 or 13 are married off to older men, preventing them from finishing their education. This is a major barrier to female empowerment, as it denies girls the opportunity to build a better future for themselves. But it's important to remember that there is hope. Many organizations and activists are working tirelessly to ensure that every girl has the opportunity to receive an education. For example, organizations like Malala Fund, which was started by Malala Yousafzai, are raising awareness about the importance of girls' education and providing funding to support educational programs in places where girls are most at risk. Let's take the story of Sarah, a young woman from Pakistan. Sarah's family faced severe financial difficulties, and her parents were initially hesitant to send her to school. They believed that education for girls wasn't necessary, as they saw her future role as a wife and mother. However, Sarah's teachers encouraged her to pursue her studies, and over time, her parents saw the value of education for their daughter. Sarah eventually graduated from university and became a teacher. Now, she's using her education to teach other girls in her village and encourage them to pursue their dreams. Sarah's story is a powerful example of how education can change, not just an individual's life, but also the future of an entire community. When a woman is educated, she becomes a catalyst for change. She has the power to challenge harmful traditions, create new opportunities for herself and others, and inspire future generations to reach their full potential. As we've seen from these stories, the importance of female education cannot be overstated. Education is the foundation for gender equality and the key to empowering women. It gives women the tools they need to succeed in every aspect of life, whether it's in the home, the workplace, or the community. But it's also a tool for social change. Educated women are more likely to raise healthy, well-educated children, start businesses, and make meaningful contributions to society. In the next part of this episode, we'll talk about how we can all contribute to empowering women through education. What can we do to support girls and women in our own communities? Stay tuned as we continue to explore ways to make education accessible to all women and girls, no matter where they live or what challenges they face. As we continue to explore the importance of female education and empowerment, it's crucial to understand how deeply intertwined education is with other aspects of life. Empowering women through education does not only affect their personal growth, but it also positively impacts economic development, healthcare, and social justice. This transformative power of education is why it's so essential to make sure every girl, regardless of where she comes from or what barriers she faces, has the opportunity to attend school and receive an education. Let's take a deeper look into how education helps women break free from traditional roles and limitations. Historically, women have often been expected to stay at home, take care of children, and focus on domestic duties. In many societies, the role of women was restricted to being a wife and mother, with little to no focus on their own personal dreams and career aspirations. Education, however, provides women with the tools to challenge these norms and build lives of their own design. Take Emily's story as an example. Emily grew up in a small rural village in England, where the local culture often valued traditional gender roles. The expectation was that girls would finish school and then focus on preparing for marriage and motherhood. While Emily didn't necessarily mind this, she also wanted to be more than that. She had dreams of becoming an engineer, something that was rare in her community. Her family was supportive, but the society around her didn't encourage girls to pursue careers in fields like engineering. Despite this, Emily managed to attend a local university where she studied mechanical engineering. It wasn't easy. She faced criticism, doubt, and even discrimination from some of her peers who believed that engineering was a man's job. But Emily didn't let this discourage her. She believed that her education was not just a personal achievement, but a chance to pave the way for future generations of women to do the same. After completing her degree, Emily secured a job at a leading engineering firm. Over time, she became known for her exceptional work and dedication. But perhaps even more important than her career success was the impact she had on her community. Emily regularly spoke at schools and local events, encouraging young girls to pursue careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math fields. Just as she had done, she made it clear to them that their gender should never limit their career aspirations. Emily's story is a powerful example of how education can break down societal barriers and help women succeed in any field they choose. Now, let's think about the broader impact of empowering women through education. Imagine a society where all women are educated, where they have the skills and knowledge to make decisions for themselves, contribute to the workforce, and have a voice in political and social matters. This isn't just a dream. It's a reality that can happen if we invest in female education. Consider a country like India, where female education has made significant strides in recent years. Although challenges remain, particularly in rural areas, the country has seen the positive effects of educating girls. A great example is Priya, a young woman who grew up in a village in southern India. Priya's family was poor, and her parents initially thought that education wasn't a priority for their daughter. Instead, they believed she should focus on helping her mother with household chores. However, Priya had a strong desire to learn. She often walked long distances to a local school, where she studied in overcrowded classrooms with limited resources. Despite these challenges, Priya's teachers recognized her potential and encouraged her to pursue her studies. Priya worked hard, and with the support of a scholarship, she was able to attend college. Today, Priya is a social worker, helping women in rural communities access education, healthcare, and legal support. She has become a role model for other girls in her village, showing them that it is possible to break free from the cycle of poverty through education. Priya's story highlights how education can be the key to unlocking a woman's potential. It not only helps women build careers, but also empowers them to make positive changes in their communities. Educated women like Priya are more likely to promote gender equality, fight against child marriage, and advocate for women's health and rights. But of course, there are still many challenges to overcome. In many parts of the world, girls still face barriers to education. These barriers can include poverty, child marriage, cultural norms, and even safety concerns. In some regions, girls are still expected to stay home and take care of younger siblings, while boys are given the freedom to go to school. In other areas, girls may be forced into early marriage, which prevents them from completing their education. For instance, in some countries in Africa and South Asia, girls as young as 12 or 13 are married off to much older men. This practice not only denies them the chance to pursue their education, but it also significantly limits their ability to create a better future for themselves. Early marriage also often leads to early pregnancy, which further reduces the chances of continuing education. In response to these challenges, many organizations and grassroots movements have emerged to promote girls' education. One example is the United Nations Girl Up initiative, which encourages young people to advocate for gender equality and education for girls worldwide. Another example is the Educate Girls program, which works in rural areas of India to ensure that girls go to school and stay in school. These programs provide resources, scholarships, and mentorship for girls, helping them overcome the obstacles that may stand in their way. One of the most inspiring stories comes from a young woman named Rachel, who grew up in a refugee camp in Jordan. Rachel's family fled Syria due to the civil war, and life in the camp was challenging, access to education was limited, and many girls were not allowed to attend school because of cultural beliefs. However, Rachel was determined to continue her education. She attended classes offered by a local nonprofit organization that helped refugee children. Over time, Rachel became a leader in her community, working with other girls to encourage them to pursue their education, despite the many obstacles they faced. Rachel's journey wasn't easy. She faced language barriers, cultural differences, and financial difficulties, but she refused to give up. Today, she is studying medicine at a university in Europe, and she plans to return to her community to offer healthcare and educational support. Rachel's story shows the resilience of young women who are determined to change their circumstances through education. The stories of Emily, Priya, and Rachel remind us that female education is not just about attending school. It's about changing lives, communities, and societies. By empowering women through education, we are giving them the tools they need to create a better future for themselves and their families. As we continue to discuss the topic of female education, it's clear that the challenges are real, but so are the solutions. Whether it's advocating for girls' education in local communities, supporting organizations that provide scholarships and resources, or simply encouraging the girls in our own lives to pursue their dreams, every effort counts. Each of us can play a part in promoting female education and empowering the next generation of women leaders. Education truly is the key to breaking the cycle of poverty, inequality, and discrimination. Let's keep pushing forward, ensuring that every girl, no matter where she lives or what her circumstances are, has the chance to learn, grow, and thrive. Continuing from where we left off, let's dive even deeper into how the ripple effect of female education can change the world. By now, we've seen that education isn't just a means for women to improve their lives, but a tool that can transform entire communities, industries, and societies. What's even more powerful is that when women are educated, they bring change that lasts for generations. This can happen in countless ways, and we'll explore some real-life stories of women who have shaped their communities in remarkable ways because of their access to education. Take a moment to consider how many roles women can fill in society when they are properly educated. For example, when women are educated, they can contribute to important sectors like healthcare, agriculture, business, politics, and law. Women can become doctors, scientists, entrepreneurs, and policymakers, roles that influence the future of countries and the well-being of entire populations. This is exactly what happened with Claire, a woman from South Africa who became a leading advocate for public health in her country. Growing up in a small town, Claire never had easy access to education. However, she was always an excellent student and showed a strong interest in science. Despite financial struggles, Claire's family supported her desire to learn. She eventually earned a scholarship to study medicine at a university in Johannesburg. After graduating, Claire returned to her hometown and worked to address the major health issues faced by many in her community. One of her biggest projects was raising awareness about HIV/AIDS and providing healthcare to those who couldn't afford medical treatment. Claire's story is an example of how women's education can not only improve their own lives, but also the health of entire populations. Through education, Claire became a leader in public health, teaching others the importance of preventive healthcare and safe practices. Today, Claire is known for her work in fighting the stigma around HIV/AIDS, ensuring that women in her community can access the resources they need to live healthier lives. Similarly, female education can have a significant impact on the economic landscape. When women are educated, they tend to earn higher wages, start businesses, and contribute to economic growth. A powerful example of this comes from Jessica, a woman from the United Kingdom who started a small company that focuses on sustainable fashion. Jessica's story is unique because she took her education in business management and applied it to a field that she felt passionate about: protecting the environment. Jessica went to a well-known university and earned a degree in business, but her passion for sustainability led her to launch a brand that promotes eco-friendly clothing. Her business quickly grew, and she was able to employ a number of women who were struggling to find work in their communities. Jessica made it her mission to educate others about the importance of sustainable practices and ethical consumerism. And today, her company is one of the leaders in the green fashion movement. What started as a small idea has grown into a successful company that helps empower women by giving them employment and by promoting social responsibility through education about sustainable living. Jessica's success shows that when women are educated in fields like business, they are not only able to succeed individually, but can also have a broader economic impact on their communities and the world at large. As we move forward, it's important to recognize that education empowers women in the most fundamental ways. It equips them with the skills to think critically, make decisions for themselves, and pursue their dreams. Take the example of Rachel, a woman from the United States who grew up in a family where higher education wasn't seen as essential for women. Her parents believed that women should focus on family life and supporting their husbands, which was a common belief in their community. Despite these beliefs, Rachel knew that she wanted more. She loved to read and was fascinated by history and politics. Rachel was determined to make a difference in her community and in the world. She worked hard in high school and received a scholarship to attend a prestigious university. Throughout her time in university, she became deeply involved in student activism, advocating for gender equality and social justice. After graduating, Rachel worked in government and later went on to serve as a policy advisor for several influential political figures. Rachel's education allowed her to enter the world of politics, where she could influence decisions that affected millions of people. Her story serves as a reminder of how important it is to educate women in all fields, whether it's politics, law, business, or social services, because educated women can make informed decisions that improve society as a whole. Rachel's journey from a small town with limited opportunities to a career in politics shows how education helps women break through barriers and fight for change. The connection between female education and political empowerment is clear. Educated, women are more likely to get involved in civic matters, vote in elections, and even run for office themselves. In fact, countries that prioritize education for girls often see higher levels of political engagement and greater gender equality in their governments. Countries like Rwanda, for example, have seen remarkable changes in their political landscape because more women are educated and involved in politics. Rwanda has one of the highest percentages of women in government positions in the world, and much of this progress has been attributed to the country's focus on female education. It's also essential to recognize that educating girls helps them break the cycle of poverty. Education allows women to earn better wages and provide for their families. When women earn money, they are more likely to reinvest it in their communities, whether that means paying for their children's education, improving health care, or supporting local businesses. For example, in Kenya, a program called Girls Education Challenge has helped thousands of girls stay in school, giving them the tools to secure better-paying jobs in the future. These girls are not only improving their own lives, but also helping lift their families out of poverty. Education also enables women to make more informed decisions about their health and well-being. When women are educated, they are more likely to seek medical care, use birth control, and make healthier lifestyle choices. They are also more likely to teach their children the importance of education and pass on these values to the next generation. This creates a cycle of improvement that continues long after a woman has completed her education. For instance, take us as the story of Maria, a woman from Brazil who was able to go to school because of a scholarship program aimed at helping girls from underprivileged backgrounds. After completing her education, Maria became a nurse and went on to educate others in her community about healthcare and family planning. By teaching her neighbors about hygiene, nutrition, and reproductive health, Maria was able to improve the overall health of her village. As a result, the community's children grew up healthier, and more girls were able to attend school, breaking the cycle of poverty and illiteracy. As we can see from the stories of Claire, Jessica, Rachel, and Maria, female education has the power to change lives, improve communities, and build a more equitable world. The impact is both personal and collective, helping women become leaders, innovators, and change makers in their respective fields. It's clear that when we invest in female education, we are investing in a brighter future for everyone. But there is still much work to be done. Globally, millions of girls are still out of school due to poverty, cultural norms, or conflict. However, by continuing to raise awareness, support educational initiatives, and advocate for girls' rights to learn, we can work together to ensure that no girl is left behind. By doing so, we are not only empowering women, but creating a more prosperous and just world for all. In the upcoming sections of this episode, we'll look at ways we can support female education and how we can be part of the global movement to ensure that every girl, everywhere, has the chance to learn. Stay tuned for more stories and ideas on how we can all contribute to this important cause. Let's take this conversation even deeper into how female education is a force for global change, one that can shape societies and influence entire nations. The stories we've shared so far are just a glimpse of what is possible when women gain access to education. The power of educating girls cannot be overstated, as it leads to a ripple effect that reaches far beyond their own lives, impacting their families, communities, and even the economies of their countries. Let's start by considering the financial impact of educating women. This isn't just about individual wealth. It's about the broader economic stability of nations. When women are educated, they are more likely to participate in the workforce, contribute to economic growth, and elevate the standard of living in their communities. In fact, studies show that if women were given the same access to education as men, global GDP could increase by as much as $28 trillion. This is an enormous number that highlights the untapped potential of women all around the world. Consider the story of Samantha, an entrepreneur from the United States. Samantha grew up in a rural area where women were expected to stay at home and care for the family rather than pursue higher education. But Samantha was determined to break that mold. After graduating from high school, she earned a scholarship to attend a top university in New York. There, she studied business and learned how to navigate the complex world of startups. Once she graduated, Samantha moved back to her hometown, where she started a tech company that aimed to bridge the gap between technology and rural communities. Her company developed low-cost communication tools for farmers to access important weather data, crop information, and farming techniques. What started as a small initiative quickly grew into a successful business that not only created jobs for other women, but also helped increase agricultural productivity in the region. Samantha's story is a perfect example of how female education can have a direct impact on a nation's economy by fostering innovation, increasing job opportunities, and contributing to the development of rural areas. Let's take another example, this time focusing on the importance of female education in addressing global challenges. When women are educated, they are more likely to address the pressing issues that affect their communities, whether it's access to clean water, sustainable agriculture, or climate change. educated women have the knowledge and the resources to implement effective solutions and advocate for policies that benefit not only themselves, but also the environment and future generations. One powerful example comes from Amina, a woman from Kenya. Growing up, Amina faced the harsh reality of water scarcity. Her village had limited access to clean water, and many people had to walk long distances just to collect water from nearby rivers. This caused numerous health problems, especially for women and children who were forced to carry heavy containers over long distances every day. Amina recognized the need for change and, after finishing high school, went on to study environmental science at a university in Nairobi. Amina's education empowered her to develop a plan for her village to create a sustainable water supply. She worked with local authorities to build rainwater harvesting systems and establish clean water filtration plants. Her efforts not only provided clean water to her village, but also created a local job market for women who were trained to maintain the water systems. Amina's story shows that when women are educated in fields like environmental science, they can become change makers, solving problems that have a direct and lasting impact on the world. In addition to the economic and environmental benefits, educating women also leads to stronger, healthier families. Research consistently shows that when women have access to education, they are more likely to marry later, have fewer children, and invest in their children's education. This is particularly important because educated women are more likely to break the cycle of poverty, offering their children better opportunities and a higher quality of life. Let's look at the example of Emma, a woman from the UK who used her education to create a better life for her family. Emma was raised in a working-class neighborhood where many girls did not continue their education past high school. However, Emma's parents believed in the power of education and encouraged her to pursue her dreams. She went on to study psychology at a university and eventually became a therapist. With her education, Emma was able to provide not just for herself, but also for her younger siblings, ensuring that they could attend school and pursue careers of their own. Emma's decision to invest in her education allowed her to create a stable future for her family, breaking the cycle of limited opportunities. Her story illustrates how education empowers women to make better choices for themselves and their loved ones, providing a foundation for future generations to succeed. What's fascinating is that these stories are not isolated. They are happening all over the world, from urban centers to rural villages. In fact, studies have shown that when girls in developing countries are educated, they are more likely to stay healthy, earn an income, and contribute to the welfare of their community. This helps reduce inequality, improve economic outcomes, and promote social stability. For instance, consider the work being done in India, where female education has seen a significant increase in recent years. With more girls attending school, the country has witnessed an increase in female participation in the workforce, particularly in technology, healthcare, and education. Women like Priya, a software engineer from Bangalore, are benefiting from this educational shift. Priya's family had always valued education, and she was encouraged to pursue her interest in technology from an early age. Today, Priya works for a major tech company and is part of a growing movement of women leading innovation in the IT sector. Priya's story also highlights how education helps women break through traditional societal barriers. In India, women in technology are still underrepresented, but by supporting female education, women like Priya are beginning to shatter those glass ceilings. In doing so, they not only advance their own careers, but also contribute to changing the perception of women in male-dominated industries. But the journey toward universal female education is far from over. Despite significant progress, millions of girls around the world still lack access to quality education. In places like Afghanistan, where girls face significant cultural and political barriers, education is still seen as a privilege rather than a right. In conflict zones and refugee camps, girls are often the first to drop out of school, leaving them vulnerable to early marriage, exploitation, and poverty. The good news is that progress is being made, even in the most challenging circumstances. In Afghanistan, for example, organizations like the Afghan Institute of Learning are working to provide education to girls in refugee camps. This organization runs secret schools, often in the most dangerous and inaccessible regions, where girls can receive an education despite the threat of violence. These women are defying the odds, showing that no matter the situation, the desire for knowledge is a powerful force that cannot be easily extinguished. This brings us to the important role that we can all play in supporting female education. Whether you're an educator, a parent, a student, or simply someone who cares about gender equality, there are countless ways we can contribute to this global cause. Donating to organizations that support girls' education, advocating for policies that ensure equal access to education, and spreading awareness about the importance of female education are all actions that make a difference. Consider the example of John, a teacher from Canada who volunteers with a nonprofit organization that works to provide educational resources to girls in rural areas of Africa. John spends his summers traveling to remote villages where he teaches young girls how to read and write. He believes that education is a fundamental right, and by helping these girls learn, he's giving them the tools to change their own lives. John's story shows how anyone, no matter where they live, can contribute to improving education for girls around the world. By supporting female education, we are making an investment in the future. We are ensuring that more women have the skills, knowledge, and opportunities to lead and inspire change. We are building a world where women's voices are heard, their contributions are recognized, and their rights are upheld. As we continue to share stories like those of Claire, Jessica, Amina, Rachel, Maria, and Priya, we are reminded of the immense potential that lies within every woman and girl. Education is the key that unlocks this potential, and by working together, we can create a world where every girl has the chance to learn, grow, and thrive. One of the most significant aspects of female education is its direct link to health outcomes. Research consistently shows that when women are educated, they are bored, more likely to make informed decisions about their health and well-being, as well as the health of their families. This can include everything from ensuring proper nutrition to accessing healthcare, managing family planning, and preventing the spread of diseases. Take the example of Alice, a woman from a small village in South Africa. Growing up, Alice's community had limited access to healthcare, and many women lacked the knowledge about proper nutrition, child health, and preventive care. Alice's mother, like many others in the village, had no formal education and struggled to provide the necessary care for her children, especially when they fell ill. However, Alice was determined to change that narrative. After completing her primary education, she won a scholarship to attend a university in Johannesburg, where she studied public health. Upon returning to her village, Alice began using the knowledge she had gained to educate other women on topics like nutrition, maternal health, and the importance of hygiene. She started a community health program that taught women how to properly care for their children, recognize early signs of illness, and access health services. Thanks to Alice's efforts, the health of the community dramatically improved. The infant mortality rate dropped, and women became more confident in seeking healthcare services. This story highlights the transformative power of female education in improving health outcomes, not just for individuals, but for entire communities. Education also plays a crucial role in breaking the cycle of poverty, particularly in developing countries. When women are educated, they are more likely to earn an income, which they often invest back into their families and communities. This has a profound impact on raising the standard of living and creating a more stable, prosperous society. Take the example of Emma, a woman from rural India. Emma grew up in a small farming community where education for girls was not a priority. Many girls were expected to work in the fields, help at home, and get married early. But Emma's parents, despite their limited resources, believed in the power of education and encouraged her to study. Emma excelled in school and eventually earned a degree in business administration. With her education, she was able to secure a job with a local NGO that focused on improving the lives of women in rural areas. Through her work, Emma helped women start small businesses and access microloans, which enabled them to become financially independent. These women were then able to send their children to school, breaking the generational cycle of poverty. Emma's story shows that when women have access to education, they are not only lifting themselves out of poverty, but also helping others do the same. Education, particularly for women, also leads to greater political participation and the creation of more inclusive societies. When women are educated, they are more likely to be engaged in political processes, advocate for policies that benefit their communities, and even run for office themselves. This leads to more diverse leadership, which is crucial for making decisions that reflect the needs of all citizens. Consider the story of Julia, a young woman from the United Kingdom who, after completing her education in law, decided to enter politics. Julia's passion for social justice and her desire to improve the lives of others drove her to run for a seat in the local government. As a lawmaker, she championed policies aimed at improving access to education, healthcare, and affordable housing, especially for marginalized communities. Her leadership inspired many young women in her district to pursue their own political ambitions, showing the powerful ripple effect of female political participation. In many parts of the world, women are still underrepresented in political offices, but this is slowly changing. Education gives women the tools they need to enter politics, advocate for policies that benefit women and children, and lead their communities. The rise of female leaders like Julia is proof that when women are educated and empowered, they can shape the future of their countries in meaningful ways. Now, let's turn our focus to how female education can help tackle global issues, such as climate change and environmental sustainability. Women, especially those in rural areas, are often the most affected by environmental issues. However, they are also the ones who hold the solutions. Educated women are more likely to be involved in conservation efforts, sustainable farming practices, and climate change mitigation strategies. Take the example of Nora, a woman from Kenya who saw firsthand the effects of climate change on her village. Droughts had become more frequent, crops were failing, and families were struggling to survive. But instead of waiting for help from outside, Nora decided to take action. After completing her studies in environmental science, Nora returned to her community and began teaching local women about sustainable farming practices. She introduced water conservation techniques, promoted the use of drought-resistant crops, and worked with women to create community gardens that would help feed the village during dry seasons. Nora's efforts not only helped her village become more resilient to climate change, but also empowered women to take charge of their own futures. These women became leaders in their community, sharing their knowledge with others and making a lasting impact on the environment. Nora's story highlights the importance of educating women in fields like environmental science, as they are often the ones most directly affected by climate change and have the potential to create lasting solutions. Female education also plays a crucial role in improving gender equality and dismantling harmful stereotypes. In many societies, girls and women are often limited by traditional gender roles that dictate what they can and cannot do. Education helps challenge these stereotypes and opens doors for women to pursue careers in fields that were once considered male-dominated, such as engineering, law, and technology. Let's look at the story of Sarah, an engineer from the United States. Growing up, Sarah was always told that engineering was a field for men. However, her parents, who were both educators, encouraged her to pursue her passion for science and mathematics. Despite facing skepticism from her peers and even some teachers, Sarah was determined to prove that women could excel in engineering. After completing her degree in mechanical engineering, she landed a job with a top engineering firm, where she designed innovative solutions for energy-efficient buildings. Sarah's success in a traditionally male-dominated field is a testament to the power of female education in breaking down gender barriers. By succeeding in her career, Sarah not only proved her own potential, but also paved the way for other young girls to consider engineering as a viable career path. Her story illustrates that when girls are educated and encouraged to follow their passions, they can challenge stereotypes and redefine societal expectations. Finally, let's talk about the importance of role models. Female role models are crucial in inspiring young girls to pursue their dreams and believe in their own potential. When girls see women in leadership positions, in STEM careers, or in politics, they are more likely to believe that they too can achieve similar success. These role models help to create a culture of possibility, where girls are not limited by the barriers that society often places in front of them. One such role model is Dr. Ruth, a renowned scientist from the United States. Dr. Ruth's research on cancer treatments has saved countless lives, and her work has inspired generations of young women to pursue careers in science and medicine. Growing up, Dr. Ruth faced many challenges as a young woman interested in science, but she persevered and achieved incredible success. Today, she serves as a mentor to young girls who are pursuing careers in the sciences, showing them that anything is possible with hard work, determination, and education. Dr. Ruth's story serves as a powerful reminder that role models are essential in empowering young girls to pursue their dreams. The more role models girls have, the more likely they are to believe in their own potential and to take steps toward achieving their goals. The impact of female education is immeasurable. From improving health outcomes to driving economic growth, creating more inclusive societies, and addressing global challenges, the benefits of educating girls are far-reaching. We've seen that education can change lives, empower communities, and transform the future. However, there is still much work to be done. Every girl deserves the opportunity to receive an education, no matter where she lives or what challenges she faces. By continuing to support female education, we are investing in a brighter, more equitable future for all. Let's continue by diving deeper into how female education plays an integral role in shaping the future of entire communities, not just on a small scale, but in ways that create lasting global change. When we talk about female empowerment, it's essential to understand that education is not just about gaining knowledge. It's about transforming possibilities. Through education, women gain the tools to advocate for themselves, for their families, and even for their communities. Take the example of Emma, a young woman from Brazil who grew up in a community where girls weren't often encouraged to pursue higher education. Emma's parents were hardworking farmers, and they believed that their daughter's role was to stay home, help with chores, and eventually get married. However, Emma always dreamed of becoming a teacher. She was determined to break free from the traditional expectations placed upon her. With the support of a teacher at her local school, Emma applied for a scholarship and moved to the city to continue her education. She eventually graduated with a degree in education and returned to her village to teach. Through her passion and hard work, Emma became a role model for other girls in her community. She started a program that encouraged young girls to stay in school, pursue their dreams, and take charge of their futures. Emma's efforts led to a significant increase in female literacy rates in her village, and many of the girls she mentored went on to pursue higher education as well. This story reflects how one woman's education can not only change her life, but also inspire an entire community to break free from traditional gender roles. Education gave Emma the freedom to create change, not only for herself, but for future generations of women in her village. This cycle of empowerment continues to grow as the girls who were inspired by Emma now teach and inspire others, creating a ripple effect of positive change. Beyond personal growth, female education also has a powerful impact on social justice and equality. In many parts of the world, women are often marginalized or excluded from decision-making processes, whether it's in the home, the workplace, or in politics. Educating women is a key factor in dismantling these barriers and building more inclusive societies. Educated women are more likely to challenge discrimination, fight for their rights, and advocate for policies that promote equality and justice. Consider the case of Sophie, an entrepreneur from the United Kingdom. Sophie came from a family where women were expected to work in traditional roles, such as taking care of the home and raising children. However, Sophie had always dreamed of running her own business. Despite the doubts of her family and friends, Sophie pushed forward, studying business management at university. After graduating, she started her own company, a digital marketing agency that helps small businesses grow. As Sophie's business became more successful, she became a vocal advocate for gender equality in the workplace. She started mentoring other women who were interested in starting their own businesses and fought for policies that would ensure equal pay for women in her industry. Sophie's success story demonstrates how education can empower women to challenge societal norms and fight for the rights of others. What's even more inspiring is that Sophie's influence didn't stop with her. She became a role model for many young women who saw her not only as a business leader, but also as someone who had broken down the barriers of gender inequality. Sophie's advocacy for equal rights, both in the workplace and beyond, highlights the power of education in empowering women to become leaders in their fields. In addition to personal empowerment and social justice, female education has a direct impact on economic development. Countries with higher rates of female education tend to have stronger, more resilient economies. When women are educated, they are more likely to participate in the workforce, contribute to economic growth, and lift their families out of poverty. Take the example of Rachel, a woman from Kenya who grew up in a rural village where education for girls was not seen as a priority. Rachel's family couldn't afford to send her to school, but she never gave up on her dream of becoming a teacher. After years of hard work, Rachel won a scholarship to attend university and earned a degree in education. Upon her return to her village, Rachel didn't just become a teacher. She started a women's cooperative that focused on entrepreneurship and financial literacy. Through the cooperative, women learned how to save money, start small businesses, and manage their finances. Rachel's initiative not only empowered the women in her village, but also helped improve the local economy. The women who joined the cooperative were able to support their families, send their children to school, and invest in their futures. Rachel's story is a prime example of how female education can directly contribute to economic development. By educating women and providing them with the tools to succeed, we are creating stronger economies and more sustainable communities. This economic empowerment also has a ripple effect, as the women who succeed financially are more likely to invest in the education and well-being of their children, ensuring that future generations continue to thrive. Education also plays a vital role in reducing gender-based violence. When women are educated, they are more likely to understand their rights, seek help when needed, and advocate for themselves and others. Education gives women the confidence to stand up against violence and discrimination, which in turn helps to create safer communities for everyone. For instance, take the story of Zara, a young woman from Pakistan. Zara grew up in a conservative family where women were often subject to domestic violence and were expected to remain silent about it. But Zara's mother, who had been the victim of abuse for years, was determined to change things for her daughter. She encouraged Zara to study, despite the challenges they faced. After completing her education, Zara became a lawyer and started working with organizations that supported women who had experienced domestic violence. Zara's legal expertise and advocacy helped many women escape abusive situations and rebuild their lives. In addition to her legal work, Zara became a vocal advocate for women's rights, pushing for stronger laws and policies to protect women from violence. Zara's story is a powerful example of how education can be a tool for breaking the cycle of violence. By becoming educated, Zara was able to not only help herself, but also empower other women to stand up for their rights and seek justice. She continues to inspire others to use education as a means of empowerment and resistance against violence. The impact of female education extends far beyond the individual level. It shapes societies, transforms economies, and improves the overall quality of life for everyone. The stories we've shared today, from Alice's work in public health in South Africa to Zara's advocacy for women's rights in Pakistan, demonstrate the far-reaching effects of educating girls and women. Each of these women is proof that when girls are given the opportunity to learn, they can change the world in meaningful ways. And as we continue to invest in female education, we are creating a future where women are not just empowered, but are leading the charge toward a more equitable, just, and prosperous world. What's clear from all these stories is that education is the key to unlocking potential. Female education empowers women, but it also strengthens communities, economies, and societies as a whole. By continuing to support and invest in the education of girls, we are ensuring that the world's future is brighter, fairer, and more inclusive for everyone. Let's explore how the education of women can have a profound effect on their families, communities, and even countries. Take the story of Rachel, a woman from Kenya who, despite facing significant challenges growing up in a rural village, overcame all odds to pursue her education. In her community, education for girls was not a priority, and many families didn't see the value in sending their daughters to school. However, Rachel's family, although struggling financially, believed in the power of education. Her mother, despite the obstacles, always emphasized how important it was for Rachel to stay in school. After years of persistence, Rachel earned a scholarship to attend university and graduated with a degree in education. When she returned to Matimtatuniya, her village, she didn't just teach, she became a role model for young girls. But Rachel's work didn't stop there. She understood that education alone was not enough to change her community. She took her knowledge and started a cooperative that taught women how to manage their finances, start small businesses, and save money. This initiative allowed women in her village to become more economically independent and gain confidence in their abilities to contribute to society. The ripple effect of Rachel's efforts is clear. The women who participated in her cooperative were able to send their children to school, improve their living conditions, and become more active in their community. Education empowered them, not only to change their lives, but also to create a better future for the next generation. This transformation is a powerful example of how female education can break the cycle of poverty, foster economic development, and create a more just society for everyone. But the benefits of female education extend far beyond financial independence. One of the most profound impacts of educating women is the improvement in health outcomes. Studies have consistently shown that when women are educated, they tend to have healthier families. They are more likely to understand the importance of hygiene, nutrition, and healthcare, and they are more likely to access healthcare services for themselves and their children. Take the story of Amelia, a woman from a remote village in India. Amelia grew up in a community where women were expected to stay at home and take care of household chores. Education for girls was seen as unnecessary, and most of the women in her village were married off at a young age. But Amelia's mother was determined that her daughter would have a different future. She fought to send Amelia to school, and after many years of hard work, Amelia completed her education and became a nurse. Amelia's journey wasn't just about pursuing her career. As a nurse, she returned to her village and started educating other women about the importance of health and wellness. She taught them about maternal health, child nutrition, and how to prevent common diseases. Through Amelia's efforts, maternal mortality rates in her village dropped significantly, and the overall health of the community improved. Amelia's story demonstrates how female education can not only improve individual lives, but also have a far-reaching impact on public health. educated women are more likely to make informed health decisions, and this, in turn, benefits everyone in their communities. By empowering women with knowledge, we can create healthier societies, reduce child mortality, and improve the quality of life for entire generations. Another powerful way female education leads to positive change is by encouraging social and political participation. Educated women are more likely to engage in political processes and advocate for policies that promote gender equality, human rights, and social justice. This is essential for building more inclusive societies where everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. Consider the example of Lily, a woman from the United States, who grew up in a working-class family where her parents didn't have access to higher education. Despite the financial struggles, Lily was determined to make a difference. She pursued a degree in political science, and after graduation, she began working for an organization that focused on advocating for women's rights. Over time, Lily became a leader in the movement for gender equality, working alongside other women to influence policy changes at the local and national levels. Lily's work had a direct impact on improving the rights of women in her country. Her advocacy for equal pay, better health care for women, and stronger protections against gender-based violence led to real legislative changes. What's more, Lily became a role model for many young women who were inspired to pursue careers in politics and public service. Her story highlights the fact that when women are educated, they are more likely to participate in shaping the future of their country. Education gives women the tools to challenge injustices, advocate for themselves and others, and create lasting change. This is why educating women is so critical in building fairer, more just societies. The impact of female education also extends to environmental sustainability. Educated women are more likely to engage in sustainable practices, understand the impact of climate change, and take steps to protect the environment. When women are given the tools and resources to succeed, they are often at the forefront of efforts to build more sustainable, eco-friendly communities. Take the example of Sarah, an environmental activist from Australia. Growing up in a small town, Sarah was passionate about nature and the environment. She realized that climate change was not only a global issue, but one that affected her community directly. After completing her degree in environmental science, Sarah returned to her hometown and started a campaign to reduce waste and promote recycling. Sarah worked with local businesses, schools, and families to raise awareness about the importance of sustainable practices. Her efforts led to the creation of community gardens, the reduction of plastic waste, and an increase in recycling programs. Thanks to Sarah's education and leadership, her town became more environmentally conscious, and the residents were more aware of how their actions affected the planet. Sarah's story is a great example of how educating women can lead to positive environmental change. Educated women like Sarah are driving efforts to protect our planet and create more sustainable communities. Through education, women are learning how to use resources more efficiently, reduce their environmental footprint, and raise awareness about climate change. Their efforts are crucial in ensuring a sustainable future for all. What we see from all of these stories is that female education is not just about personal growth. It's about building a better, more equitable world. When women are educated, they are empowered to change their own lives, uplift their families, improve their communities, and contribute to global progress. The ripple effect of education is immense, and its impact can be felt in all areas of society, from health and economics to politics and the environment. Educating women is one of the most powerful ways to break the cycle of poverty, fight inequality, and create a more just and inclusive world. Each time we invest in female education, we're investing in the future of society. The stories of women like Rachel, Amelia, Lily, and Sarah show us that when women are given the opportunity to learn and grow, the world becomes a better place for all. And so, the journey continues. with each step towards female empowerment making a difference in the lives of countless women and the communities they touch. Let's take the story of Emma, a young woman from a small village in the United Kingdom. Emma's early life was filled with the expectation that she would follow in the footsteps of the women before her, marrying young, staying at home, and raising a family. However, Emma's parents, who had always emphasized the importance of education, made sure she went to school. While most girls in her village had their education cut short, Emma continued to excel in her studies and eventually earned a scholarship to a prestigious university. During her time at university, Emma became deeply involved in women's rights, activism. She realized that the barriers faced by women in her village, barriers that her own mother had struggled with, were not isolated, but part of a larger pattern of gender inequality that existed across many societies. Upon finishing her degree, Emma returned to her village, determined to change the perceptions of education for girls and women. Through her work, Emma established a scholarship program specifically for young women in her village, encouraging them to pursue education in areas like business, technology, and engineering, fields traditionally dominated by men. She also organized community workshops to teach girls and their families about the value of education and how it could open doors for them in ways that had previously been unimaginable. Emma's efforts began to bear fruit, and over time, more girls from her village began to pursue higher education. As they graduated and began entering the workforce, they not only gained financial independence, but also became advocates for further change. Emma's vision had sparked a movement, and it wasn't long before the town began to see a shift in its approach to gender roles and expectations. In addition to the financial and social benefits, Emma's work highlighted an often overlooked aspect of female education: the power of representation. When women see others like themselves breaking barriers and achieving success, it empowers them to do the same. Representation matters because it provides a tangible example of what is possible. It's not just about imagining a different life. It's about seeing real-life stories of women who have made that dream a reality. This is why it's so important for educational systems and communities to encourage and support women in pursuing fields that they may not have traditionally been encouraged to enter. Imagine a girl growing up in a rural area of Bangladesh who, despite facing obstacles such as limited access to resources and societal expectations, wants to become an engineer. What she needs is not only the opportunity to learn, but also role models who have walked that path before her. Take the case of Amina, a young woman who grew up in the city of Dhaka. Amina's family had little money, and the idea of sending a girl to university seemed impossible. However, Amina was determined, and after years of hard work, she earned a scholarship to a prestigious university in the United States. The journey was far from easy, but Amina's belief in herself and her commitment to education never wavered. Amina not only completed her degree in engineering, but also became an advocate for female students in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. She returned to Bangladesh after graduation and began a program to mentor young girls interested in engineering, showing them that it was possible to succeed in a traditionally male-dominated field. Amina's work has since inspired hundreds of young women to pursue careers in STEM and has contributed to a growing movement to increase the number of women in these fields. The ripple effect of Amina's story is undeniable. By educating and empowering young women in Bangladesh, she's not only changing individual lives, but also transforming entire industries. In many parts of the world, women in fields like engineering and technology are underrepresented, but initiatives like Amina's are helping to bridge that gap, one young woman at a time. As we can see, the empowerment of women through education can be seen in many different ways. It's about giving women the opportunity to pursue their dreams, no matter how big or small, and showing them that their voices matter. Education provides the tools, the confidence, and the knowledge needed to break through the barriers that have historically held women back, but let's also acknowledge the role that education plays in improving the quality of life for women and their families. In many parts of the world, women are the primary caregivers and decision makers within the home. When women are educated, they are more likely to make informed decisions about their health, the health of their children, and their financial security. Educated women are better equipped to care for their families and improve the overall well-being of their communities. Consider the example of Mary, a woman from Kenya who, after receiving a basic education, became deeply concerned about the health of her community, particularly maternal and child health. After attending a community health course, Mary realized that many women in her area lacked knowledge about simple practices that could prevent the spread of diseases and reduce maternal mortality. Determined to make a difference, Mary began conducting health workshops in her village, teaching women about the importance of sanitation, hygiene, and nutrition during pregnancy. Through her workshops, Mary not only helped reduce maternal deaths, but also increased awareness about the importance of healthcare for children. She worked closely with local clinics to ensure that women had access to necessary healthcare services, and she created a network of women who could support each other and share knowledge. Mary's story is a powerful reminder of the ways in which education can help women contribute to their communities in meaningful ways. By educating women about health, nutrition, and other critical areas, we are not only improving individual lives, but also creating a healthier, more prosperous future for everyone. In addition to these personal and community-level impacts, there's also the wider societal benefit of educating women. As women gain more access to education, they are able to contribute to the economy in significant ways. Research has shown that when women are educated and participate in the workforce, they contribute to higher economic growth and greater prosperity for entire nations. Take the example of Laura, a woman from Canada who grew up in a working-class neighborhood. Laura was always passionate about economics and finance, but her parents struggled to afford her education. Nonetheless, she found a way to attend university and earned a degree in business management. After graduating, Laura worked in a financial firm and quickly rose to the position of senior executive. Laura's story demonstrates how women's participation in the workforce and their contribution to the economy can bring about positive change on a larger scale. Women like Laura are essential to the success of businesses and industries, and when given the opportunity to succeed, they can make a huge difference in driving economic growth. It's clear that female education and empowerment are not just about improving the lives of individual women, but also about transforming entire societies. From economic growth to health improvements, from increased political participation to environmental sustainability, the impact of educating women is profound and far-reaching. It's a powerful reminder that when women are given the chance to learn, grow, and thrive, the entire world benefits. By empowering women through education, we are laying the foundation for a brighter, more equitable future. And as we continue to support the education of women, we are ensuring that the next generation of girls will have the opportunity to achieve their dreams, contribute to society, and lead the way to a better tomorrow. Let's take a moment to reflect on the story of Hannah, a young woman from a rural town in England. Growing up, Hannah's community had very traditional views about a woman's role in society. The expectation was for girls to finish school at a young age, marry early, and focus on domestic responsibilities. However, Hannah's parents believed in the value of education, and they encouraged her to pursue her studies. While many of her friends dropped out of school, Hannah continued her education, determined to make something of herself. Hannah went on to graduate from university with a degree in economics. After her graduation, she took a job with an international charity that focused on improving access to education for girls in developing countries. Hannah's work involved traveling to countries where girls had limited access to school and where societal norms prevented them from getting an education. During her travels, she met many young women who were eager to learn but had been denied the chance due to cultural or financial barriers. One of the most memorable experiences for Hannah was meeting a young girl named Lila from a remote village in India. Lila's family had no money for school fees, and she was expected to help at home and care for her younger siblings. However, Lila was incredibly determined to get an education. When Hannah met Lila, she was inspired by her passion for learning and her dream of becoming a teacher one day. With Hannah's help, Lila was able to secure a scholarship and continue her education. Today, Lila is not only a teacher, but also an advocate for girls' education in her community. Hannah's story is just one of many that demonstrate the transformative power of education for women. It highlights how women can break free from the traditional roles imposed upon them and chart their own paths to success. It also shows how, when one woman is educated, she can become a catalyst for change in her community. By becoming a role model and an advocate for girls' education, Leela is helping to create a culture of learning and empowerment for future generations. The impact of female education goes far beyond personal achievement. It also has profound effects on the broader society. When women are educated, they are more likely to become active participants in the workforce, which can lead to economic growth and greater prosperity for all. In many countries, women still face significant barriers to entering the workforce, such as gender-based discrimination, unequal pay, and limited access to training and development opportunities. However, when these barriers are removed, women contribute to higher levels of productivity and innovation, which benefits society. As a whole, let's consider the example of Emma, a woman from the United States who decided to pursue a career in technology. Emma was always fascinated by computers and coding, but she grew up in a family that had little knowledge of the tech industry. She often heard that women were not meant for tech jobs and that it was a field better suited for men. However, Emma was determined to prove those stereotypes wrong. She spent years learning how to code, attending coding boot camps, and eventually securing an internship at a major tech company. Through hard work and perseverance, Emma eventually became a software engineer and a team leader at the same company. As one of the few women in her field, she became passionate about encouraging other women to pursue careers in technology. She started a mentorship program for young girls interested in coding and worked with schools to introduce more girls to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects. Emma's success shows how women can break into industries that have historically been dominated by men. It also highlights the importance of representation in fields like technology, where women have often been underrepresented. By encouraging more girls to pursue STEM careers, we can create a more diverse and inclusive workforce that drives innovation and progress. Another powerful example of how female education empowers women to contribute to society is the story of Sarah, a woman from South Africa. Sarah grew up in a small town where access to quality education was limited. She attended a local school, but the curriculum was basic and there were few resources available. Despite these challenges, Sarah was a dedicated student and excelled in her studies. After completing her high school education, Sarah earned a scholarship to attend university in Cape Town, where she studied environmental science. Upon graduating, Sarah returned to her village and used her knowledge to address the environmental challenges facing her community. She started a program to teach women in her village how to conserve water, improve agricultural practices, and manage waste. Sarah's efforts led to improved environmental sustainability in her village, and she became a respected leader in her community. Sarah's story illustrates how women who are educated can use their knowledge to solve pressing global challenges. It also demonstrates how empowering women through education can create a ripple effect that benefits entire communities. By teaching women how to address environmental issues, we are not only improving the quality of life for individuals, but also fostering a sense of collective responsibility and community engagement. Another aspect of female education that often goes unnoticed is the role it plays in improving global health. When women are educated, they are more likely to understand the importance of good nutrition, health care, and family planning. Educated women are also more likely to make informed decisions about their children's health and well-being, which can lead to lower infant mortality rates and better overall health outcomes. Consider the example of Maria, a woman from Brazil, who grew up in a poor neighborhood where access to healthcare was limited. Maria was fortunate enough to attend a local school where she learned about nutrition, hygiene, and disease prevention. After completing her studies, she became a nurse and returned to her community to teach other women about the importance of health and wellness. Maria started a health education program that focused on maternal and child health, as well as the prevention of common diseases such as malaria and tuberculosis. Her efforts led to a significant decrease in the number of preventable deaths in her community, and many women became more active in caring for their own health and the health of their families. Maria's story shows how education can lead to healthier communities, particularly in regions where access to healthcare is limited. It also underscores the importance of educating women about health issues, as they are often the primary caregivers in families and communities. One of the most significant benefits of female education is its ability to break the cycle of poverty. When women are educated, they are more likely to secure stable jobs, earn higher wages, and contribute to their family's financial security. Educated women are also more likely to invest in their children's education, ensuring that future generations have the opportunity to succeed as well. Take the story of Rachel, a woman from Nigeria who grew up in a family with limited resources. Despite the challenges, Rachel was able to attend school and earn a degree in business administration. After completing her studies, she found a job at a local bank and began working her way up the corporate ladder. As Rachel's income increased, she was able to provide for her family and send her younger siblings to school. Rachel's success story highlights how female education can help lift families out of poverty and create a more sustainable future. By giving women the tools they need to succeed, we are investing in the long-term prosperity of communities and nations.